Hey everyone, with this video I'm going to go over the basics of MLA Style. Now MLA Style, for those of you that have never done it before, is really two things. It's a format for setting up your MLA papers, and it's a set of rules for citing all the sources that you're going to use in your paper, and both are important. You'll need to do them or you risk losing a lot of points on your papers. So let's go over the first part, the one on formatting, to begin here. So on your screens now we have a sample MLA paper that I found on the MLA Style website that I'm using as our example today. So what are some of the things that make up the formatting for an MLA paper? Well, in the upper left you have to include your full name, then your professor's name, then the name of your class, and the date the paper's due. In the upper right, in the header, you'll actually include your last name and then the page number. So last name for this example is Baldwin, page number 1. And then in the center of the paper you have your title of your paper. So that's all straightforward enough. I'm going to link to a separate video that will show you how to set some of these things up in Word, in a Word document, if you've never used headers or something like that before. Anyways, once you set up those things, you'll get into the paper itself, where you'll have your introduction and your thesis sentence. So this brings us to our second part of MLA Style I mentioned, the part where we have to cite our different sources of information that we use. So as you go through your paper, you're going to inevitably reference like facts and ideas from different books and articles that you've read to put your paper together, and you have to give those authors credit as part of avoiding plagiarism in your paper, and as a way so your professor can check to make sure that you use proper sources to write your paper, to make sure that your information is good. So as you mention facts from different authors in your paper, you're going to do what's called an in-text citation. So in the body of your text here we see this example. There's a quote that someone took from an author. We see their quote is in quotation marks, and then just after, in parentheses here, they have the last name of the author from where that source, that quote, came from. This example is a book. The author's last name was Copeland, and on page 132, that's where this quote came from. So that's the basics of an MLA Style in-text citation. It's just the author's last name and the page number beside the information that you're referencing, whether it's a quote or something you paraphrase, like I said, like a fact or an idea or an opinion or anything like that. Here we have another one. This one's author's name's Tomalin, and on pages 80 and 119 they mention some fact or idea here that I decided I wanted to use in the paper. So throughout your paper you'll just do those in-text citations. Like I said, author, last name, page number when you mention facts and ideas. Your professor will sort of check through those as they go through the paper. Generally, the more in-text citations the better. It just shows how well researched your paper is. So you'll go through that, your whole paper doing that. And then at the end of your paper you'll have what's called your works cited page. This is where your professor will check to see the kinds of sources that you used in your paper. So the in-text citation is really short without a lot of info, but here we have all the details about the different sources you used, what books you read, what articles you looked at, and your professors are going to check this to make sure that you use good quality sources for your paper, like books and academic journal articles from EBSCO. So all your sources are listed here alphabetically by the author's last name. You see they're indented on the second line. It's called a hanging indent, with all the other information about the sources also listed. The name of the author, the title, the publisher, the year it was published, all those good things are there. So like I said, so your instructor can check your sources. The library website has some excellent guides on MLA and APA Style. To get to them, come to the library website main page here and click into our student resources page, and here you'll see both our guides. We have guides on MLA Style and APA Style, as well as sample MLA and APA papers. So I highly recommend using these resources so you can look up all the different rules that you'll need to know as you work on both MLA and APA papers.